Okay.
Okay, very good.
So even if we get email in the email to send it, the North email.
With the recycling info.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we should do the mailers also.
So it was interesting, because the more, now that I've done it, when the trash this week, I didn't even grab the trash.
I know.
Enough trash to put
Yeah,
out.
right, I know,
Yeah.
and being able to
But
put plastic.
recycling, I had two, yeah.
Well, and meanwhile, like, yeah, I mean, it's just a very unbelievable situation, really, because I just saw an article about how, like or maybe it was, I guess it was from the plastics, the Beyond Plastics Coalition of Montgomery County or Southeastern PA, that, it had been found that the pickups of plastic bags at grocery stores was basically a scam.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, like there's a reason why people, like it was like,
Right.
the American Plastics Council sponsored those boxes and collection boxes, and it was like it was probably 3%.
But it seems like, from what I gathered, the folks there that ran that whole tour and presentation, one, they're very knowledgeable and really good at communicating all of that, and they seem like very willing partners to their various municipalities that they work with, so I would imagine they would be willing to help.
That's what I was gonna
Hey,
ask.
we gotta get the word out.
Mhm.
How can you help us do that?
Do you think that they can give us any data on what recycling is being picked up, they're picking up our recycling in terms of
They
what they're
said
seeing?
that part was tricky, right, because it's just, they're like, somebody asked that question.
It's all mixed together.
It's all, and it's all these transfer stations where
Yeah.
things go,
Right.
so that part was really hard.
Right.
Like, how well are we doing as a borough?
Right.
That would be very difficult
That was
for us to
Yeah,
enumerate. Great idea.
right.
We should be able to get some kind of format. Kind of format.
I'm not,
Yeah,
I've
so you can do
seen
that,
lots
but-
of different formats in it, but I think you could ask the staff if there's a particular format.
Yeah, find out for it.
To put it in, but there might be, the Scarborough might have things that.
Right.
Well, that's what
right.
I mean, they might have, I just want to ask for the right format.
Yeah.
And they offered, and I know Matt and Alan took cards from,
Mhm.
particularly the two guys that were running the whole tour.
Yeah, so we can, I can reach out to that Jeff, I think.
Okay, they were great.
So I can reach out to them.
You wanna do that?
I'll ask them for it.
Right, it's just they're
If I can point
obligated
it
to
an email.
do actual printing, I think, because the printing is
I think
a couple
that,
$100.
that would be my
every day.
guess, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna check with Alan about the printing, but
Yeah, if we could just get a,
Find out
something
about-
put in the newsletter, just,
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
they must have something ready.
Place to
whether
start,
it's Not PDF, but what do you call it, picture?
JPEG and
JPEG, yes.
something like that.
that's a good idea. Well, good, that's great, I'm glad everyone found its own format, that's really cool.
Yeah,
I will say, and like the time we took to walk from this to the other end, he's like, it's all sorted. We can't, we sort faster than we walk from one end to the other. You
Wow.
see these massive bales of all of these materials and to learn where they go and what they do, it was pretty cool. Made me feel better about, because I was certainly suspicious myself for all the things that you
Yeah.
hear. I'm like,
Yeah, you
is this
hear.
stuff really
Right.
going where it's supposed to? But it seems it is.
Cool, anything else with that?
No.
Okay. So our main agenda item is to talk about the draft of the strategic communications plan that Chad put together, centered around CCA, but I think the idea is we can have a framework to
yeah,
use this for any outreach
100%, yeah.
or other projects too. So Chad, I'll turn it over to you.
Sure, and it's a ton, right? I get that, and I just thought it would be, one, not knowing a whole ton about budget, but also realizing, I don't know a whole ton about everybody's, both their time and their expertise in areas where they feel comfortable. So I thought it would be good to put more
mhm,
in there, and then we could look through it and say, okay, here are some feasible avenues where we could do this, we could do that. Maybe some of these in here, like that doesn't even really lend itself to
I thought
what
it was
we're trying to do.
really well done, so that's great.
Great. But it's a lot, right? And
Yeah.
and the strategy and tactics section that's where you really kind of get into the meat of, like action creative costs, who's gonna develop whatever it is we're developing, who's
Yeah.
gonna push it out there or deliver it,
Yeah,
and how much does it cost and what kind of budget do we have? And that's the other piece, I have no idea what kind of budget dollars we have. Some of this is free, some of these are things we can do,
right.
maybe that's where we start, low hanging fruit, free.
Mhm.
Budget, we do have some budget that I don't know off the top of my head, but we can, if there's things that have a cost, we can definitely, find out about that. In fact, we've done things before, like, we had a banner that we created that was over Haverford that was about, switching to a renewable electricity supplier and had some information about, a website to go to, saying make the switch or something.
Which was the borough website, which then you go to and click on the
Yeah.
the climate action maps.
So we sort of designed that, Mary and I designed that, put that together, and then there was some thing in the budget to be able to print that. So we definitely have a budget, we definitely have funds to do things like that, and I can find out how much.
Yeah, it varies from year to year, and the truth is it's good, it's really great that you did this now, because I think October is usually when, historically, my husband, when he was on the borough council, would be like, Miriam, we got a budget now, EAC, come up with what you need, like, by tomorrow, and, and we're like, what do we need, we're all, it's just like very lost of it, so it's good to, have this, to be thinking about this now.
Sure.
This summer.
Yeah.
I think the other thing that's, to think about is time commitments. So one of the
Yeah.
groups in all this that has very limited time is the borough staff, who are fantastic and very helpful, but also have so many other things going on too, and so that's a challenge. And I know we all have limited time too, and so that's the other place is to think about what's the time cost of the different things, and Chad, I think you're right, find the low-hanging fruit. So I'm wondering if maybe as a first step, we can highlight or pick the things from this
That's great.
that are the first steps. I was also gonna say, I really like the messages section.
Yeah,
With the
that's
bullet
good.
points of all the advantages of CCA in this case, which I think is great.
No, that's really great. How long did
I mean, I did it in little chunks
Little
of time,
bits,
like,
yeah.
and do a lot of this kind of stuff.
Right, so it
I was definitely pulling from
Yeah.
That's
other
great.
plans I've done before,
Right,
right,
great,
repurposing
yeah,
those.
yeah. No, but these strategic, or the messages is very.
So for CCA specifically, Miriam, I seem to recall at one point that the teacher that had something about it.
Is it, I was like, did it start pouring? Yeah. I was like, good. Public meetings, so I just sent you all an email, and this can just, this can just slot right in. It's a great time for me, and for you to have done this great work, and then I'm like, sending it to you all, but, I mean, just the overarching thing to know is that, they have kind of like Maspero, I guess, that kind of a prepared song and dance. They, the people who work for Jewel Energy have one that they used in New York. So they kind of plan. I don't know that. I think it would just dovetail with this. It doesn't replicate this. I mean, they have a few letters that are kind of like bylaw. I mean, they definitely have some materials prepared. I have noticed that sometimes there's like some not trouble, but like what you call an ordinance in Pennsylvania, you call it a local law in New York, and they would, so
Some terminology.
there's some terminology where it's not a big deal, it's just like, you could get really confused, or, like, anything they have will definitely need to be tweaked. But I think the basic thing for now, we haven't really seen all of their materials yet. The only thing that we have at this point is just this email that says that we could make this for such changes.
I was going to ask about that 30 to 40 key informal leaders of the community. Do they mean just in Harvard or across all, just for us?
Oh, I think they mean marker.
Oh,
I kind of read that story.
Yeah, I mean,
That's how I read it too, but that number seemed like a lot. I guess that's good though.
yeah, I mean, they've worked with towns large and small, probably nervous. Like, I know it's hard to imagine a town smaller than this,
Right.
so. I could imagine that we start, they said 30 to 40 key informal leaders. I think once we start, we'll probably like have easy 25, and then maybe like, it takes a while. But, you know, once you like include the churches, you
Yeah,
know.
okay. That's true. So, do you think that's something we should start doing now? Is that step one?
I was
Or
thinking,
is
it
there
could-
earlier step?
I think that that's the step
I mean,
one,
do you
yeah.
think that, from your perspective, does that make sense to start with that rather than public meetings or meetings, the newsletter, things like that, very broadly? So, that's, it seems to
They
be a
said
third
don't
suggestion.
put anything in public until they say so. So, because there was a point where I was like, you know, you used to post an update, you know, is it a good idea to post an update on the Facebook community page so people know what's going on that day? Because there will be a lot of misunderstandings and people just want to, you know, they won't know that it's like a well-oiled machine, they'll just kind of forget and won't do it anymore, right?
Right. Okay.
Yeah, so I think the identification of the leaders, let's see.
So I think what we can do is, offline,
Yeah,
develop that list, we can start documenting, get some meeting, include that. And then maybe, you know, Chad or Mary or both of you, if you want to put together sort of draft email. Did you say Jewel has an email?
yeah,
That's what
I'm
it says.
rereading, yeah,
Well, I craft a letter.
will help,
Well, they will help craft a letter.
yeah.
Okay. Maybe, Miriam, if you could ask them for an example of one they've used before that we can start from,
Yeah,
and then we can just
Yeah,
adapt
I'm
that.
happy
Yeah.
to participate.
okay, yeah, because you're, yeah. To get started in finding, so, right, so I think, he would like you, yeah, so Mike would like you, quote unquote, to get in touch with him. It may be worth, seeing if he can probably do things, or at a time we can meet. It would be great, I think, to have like as many people hearing straight from him as possible, about these next steps.
Sure.
So I can reach out, but I think if we started the list, we could, you know, each of us contributing some people we know.
Yeah.
It's kind of, I was thinking, we're all in different sort of
Yeah.
networks here. I mean,
Yeah.
this is a tiny borough, but until, I've been here for 18 years,
Oh my
until I joined EAC, it's the first time I met any of you in Lebanon, right? So, we obviously have different networks of people, and so we should be tapping into to make sure we're getting
Right.
the broadest possible reach
Yeah.
with our
Okay.
friends and networks.
Why don't you start the document and share it with everyone, and we'll all add our links to it. And Miriam, if you could reach out to, it was not much.
It is too much, actually.
Okay.
I'm liking this other person, right?
And if an example from what they do in New York would be good, a letter, then we can adapt that.
Yeah.
So it's scheduled time, yeah.
So I'm gonna put this stuff here. I never know where to file things.
So,
Share it, or
you
either
just create that, I can make sure it doesn't come.
just put it in the general one.
There's a projects folder,
Oh,
and
okay.
there's a CCA,
Okay,
or we can create a CCA folder.
okay, I can do that.
Can I ask a quick,
Yeah.
like, timeline mechanics question here? How is this all gonna play out? If it plays out the way
Right now, it depends on the Public Utility Commission.
Okay.
So, until we have sort of the go-ahead from them, we're kind of a holding pattern. So, but I think they're hopeful that that will be a positive outcome. Right, budget ready to go.
Right.
Because as soon as it is, then we're ready to start on the outreach and education part of it. Because then Jules and they will want to start crafting an RFP, things like that, suppliers, things like that. So we're going to do this.
The idea is to start outreach prior to the RFP.
That's a good question, I don't know what's
What he said was, they said that the kickoff event with the community, were just like open to everyone and try to get as many people as possible to come, it's not like here's one. This event often happens at the point where the first supplier is chosen.
So that would be a broader,
Yeah, right, so the RFP then, I don't know where the RFP goes. I think, right, there's the PUC approval, and then the RFP is just kind of like as fast as you can do it and have the meeting, so I think it could be kind of.
but I think this initial outreach, this orientation session in Paula, I think it basically happened as soon as we could go back to PUC, just to get initial feedback from just the third is fully the third steps.
Yeah, I feel like somewhere we have a timeline, but I might just,
We had a timeline way back then.
It kept changing a little bit.
right, yeah, it does have to,
Implementation,
right, okay, because we could,
that was all,
what's that?
we had a timeline.
They did have a timeline, right, and the specific times are wrong, but the steps are
Right.
still the same, so.
Okay, let's start with the list, and I think also just, maybe we can, separate from this broader document, Chad, that you put together, we can create a simpler one with steps as we go. So we're keeping track of what we go. We'll put that in that sample. So I made a CC. Oh, you made a CC.
Oh, do we?
No, just use yours. Should be you too.
5 minutes for a draft sample of the letter.
I would, yeah, if you could,
Yeah, I'll reach out now to Mike and Amanda.
so,
Oh, strong.
Chad, I'm gonna put the document that you created now just in our projects folder, and we can use that as a template, because, if we want to do this for, big loads or whether it's a road.
And that's exactly how I was thinking,
Yeah.
where like this is easily just for anything that we're trying
I think
to.
it's great.
Cool, thanks.
Awesome. Thanks for putting it together.
Oh, yeah.
My pleasure. I mean, these are, as I've said before, I'm new to all of this stuff from an environmental perspective. I am the furthest thing from an environmental expert or scientist. You guys know a lot more than I do, so I'm leaning on all of you for the what, but I'm pretty good at the that kind of thing, the nuts and bolts of communication and marketing and that kind of stuff. So I'll be helpful where I can be.
Well, you are, for sure. We all learn together from each other.
Right, well, and I guess one other piece of it, I don't know if we have these, it's not like an average thing to what we get done budget, because that may be kind of figuring out what's the low hanging fruit. We can figure out if there's some money, it's a newsletter, but like, maybe once we figure out which things are, might be looking for just kind of like, estimated time, right?
Yeah.
But the truth is, we would want to see the whole kind of portfolio of items, same items that she has, to know, so we can.
Yes.
So I'll also ask him, if it's okay, I'll just email him now. And I'll also ask him not just for that letter, but like, so that we can see what do we need to create ourselves, what opportunities we need to create ourselves.
And I think it's a matter of multiple channels, right? So if there's gonna be a piece that goes out to everybody's accounts, then there's gotta be a plan, okay, this thing drops the week of, let's just say, August 1st, then on August 15th, there should be an email, and then it should be in the newsletter, so that people are seeing multiple times, or maybe they're sitting on the recycle bin, just putting on the junk mail, which I'm guilty of that too.
Sure.
We all are, but then it's like, oh yeah, I saw that thing. And then you get the email, and then then they're intrigued and they want it, and I think the message is, I'm sure you will be really supportive.
Yes.
Glad to be able to read this, I'm sure there's.
Oh, okay, this is no-brainer. I make it a no-brainer. Oh, okay, I don't have to do anything? So I actually have to do something.
Do a safe one, opt out.
That's the
That's the beauty.
As long as-
Yeah.
I think that I mean, the last time that we did, that I can remember, there have been 2 times that I remember that there was a really big community engagement. I guess it's happened a couple times, but one that I was most aware of was the Civic Association helped, and we did door to door leafleting, musical flyers
Right.
to every single. I remember I had a night, like a long conversation with an old friend while I was there, you know? And that was the Civic Association who organized that.
Households, is that, does anybody know top of head, like?
In the borough?
Yeah.
It's about 1,000.
1,000, okay. That's impressive, that's a lot.
Yeah, the Civic Association would be a good group to
Yeah.
coordinate with,
Yeah.
that's for sure.
Yeah, and the religious.
Yep. Great, thanks, Chad. So there's only a couple other small items. There's only one other item I listed here was an update on the plans for the gas-powered leaf blowers. I reached out to Nancy Winkler. They are, that project has been passed off from their EAC to their volunteer group, Climate Action Lower Marion. Christine leading that.
Okay.
Yes, which Nancy's involved with as well. And their township staff, I think, had a long list of questions, and I think they're coordinating with Penn Environment to help answer those questions.
Great, okay.
So what I told her was that we weren't, I told her what we had came up with last time, so Chad, just to fill you in, you were here. There's a draft ordinance from Penn Environment that basically relates to gas-powered leaf blowers specifically. There's a whole bunch of different factors, like all leaf blowers, all lawn equipment, this or that. We focused on this one that Penn Environment developed, that was gas-powered leaf blowers specifically, and a process for phasing them out. It had a seasonal use restriction on other kinds of leaf blowers, but we decided to keep it simple and not include that. So I relayed to Nancy that we were pretty happy with the structure of that ordinance, and then that's what she responded to me with. So they may have more, some of the points she made was that there's certain issues that they need to address that might not affect us, like large properties that need to be managed or something like that we might not have to deal with.
Yeah.
But I told her that the main thing from our end was to coordinate with them as much as we could,
Right.
even if there's issues that don't affect us, that don't be part of
Right,
ours.
yeah, we're happy to,
But we're flexible.
yeah.
I'm planning to set up a meeting with her still to get some more details, but they're waiting on township staff and Penn Environment to get together to get some staff answer. That's where they're at right now. In parallel, the chair of the Radnor EAC contacted me and asked, because they're interested in this as well.
Okay, here it goes.
Right, so he wanted to know where we were at and what was going on. So I'm gonna try and do a meeting with, his name is Dan, and I'm gonna try to coordinate with him and Nancy together so we can all try
Yeah.
to see if we get on the same page. His name is Dan Berman, chair of the Radnor EAC. So I replied to him, gave a summary of where we were at, and then I need to follow up, try to schedule a meeting. So I'll keep you guys posted. I think we're pretty happy with what we came up with on our end, and the larger municipalities are gonna have more detailed questions. But I'll keep engaging with them, hopefully, I'd like to be in a position where by the end of the summer, we have something to present to Borough Council and that they can present to township districts. So we'll keep trying forward to that. I don't think there's anything else we need to discuss or do, is
The
there?
one thing that I just couldn't remember was, it seemed like the noise ordinance, us doing the noise ordinance now could be helpful.
I think we should.
Recommending,
Yeah.
going
So-
ahead and recommending stricter noise.
I would like to pursue that as well, and we can do that independently of this ordinance. and
Totally, no,
independently
that's
of
why I thought we
what-
could just, maybe that's something we could just like cough up this summer. And then
Yes.
that way, and like explain, it's for public health and safety, you know?
Yeah.
And it could help facilitate down the pike.
I agree, it's on, I'm eager to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, cause it seemed like it would be, I mean, not that we have to do it tonight, but I just was thinking we might be able to knock it out pretty quickly, cause I think we could just copy like Laura Marion's template.
I know
Yeah,
Laura Marion's is more detailed, I'm gonna try and look at some other ones too,
okay.
and look at, other acoustics and other.
Do you wanna
acoustics.
do you wanna not do all that work, like yourself?
Well, since I have a background in acoustics.
Oh, okay, then you do that.
I'm happy to do it.
Okay, got it,
And
alright,
that's a project that would be happy.
okay, alright, very good, very good.
Yeah, on that
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, say background in acoustics. So
Yeah, I study sound processing, so that's what I do. So, not noise, specifically,
Right,
that kind of thing, but I'm familiar with the issues, so, yeah, I'll dig into it and have something to present to you guys later
My
this
wife's
summer.
also an audiologist as well. so
Oh, yeah,
if you
that's
need-
the kind of
if
stuff
you
that
need
we-
a reference on that.
Yeah, great. Yeah.
DB levels and all that kind of.
Yeah, that's the
Great.
kind
I
of.
certainly have a resource for that, so.
Great.
Back
Excellent.
Hi, audio. Oh, great.
But I agree, definitely.
Okay,
Do something on that.
I just thought that might be like a low hanging thing.
Yeah, and we can do that while we're waiting.
Exactly, no, I thought that would be nice, cause then we don't have to wait to like
Yep.
shrink the noise.
Especially given that a lot of the complaints we've heard have to do, or surround noise specifically. I mean, there are people also complain about smell and the pollution and things like
Yeah.
that, which are certainly issues, but noise is definitely one of the things that we're hearing, so.
That's
Okay, a couple other updates, talked about CCA, were there any other updates for CCA? Have they submitted the petition to PUC?
Sounds like they're anticipating.
I mean, they are,
I hope so.
That's what it says.
yeah, no, I think that they're not anticipating, not a like
Pushback.
rejection,
They're not, right.
yeah. Let
They're
me
not
just-
really seeking approval, they're just
Let me just see,
seeking
I talked-
disapproval, right?
No, I can't remember. Yeah, I think our last meeting was since,
That's okay.
yeah,
Just let us know by email if you hear that they've submitted it, just so we can know what the timeframe is.
yeah, I think I sent the update on May 14th, and I think we got.
That's fine. No worries.
Yeah, just making sure that you have all that.
Yeah. Parks plan,
Mm,
we are included as one of the key stakeholders.
That's good.
Whatever the terminology was, along with the other environmental groups, Lower Merion Conservancy, Shade Tree Commission, so on. Lee.
And the Fonzie.
And Fonzie.
yeah. Don't forget about.
Yeah, don't forget the Fonzie, right Nancy? Don't forget the Fonzie.
So you guys are gonna be our representatives for that, right?
Yes.
Sure.
I think.
Right, Nancy?
You said yes.
I said I would, yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
and
want
you're
that
in contact with Rebecca already?
Yeah.
It seems like.
Through the
so-
Fonzie, yeah, we
Yeah.
have, right,
Okay,
correct.
so is there anything you need us to do in terms of?
No, I don't think so. I listened to that meeting the other day.
Okay.
I know Nancy and Peter were actually there,
Oh, okay,
and they had some, it was just basically what I would call a spitballing meeting. They
Okay,
were just looking for ideas, people.
this was
what would you like to
this
do
was
for our
that first public meeting?
This is the first public meeting,
Yeah.
so it's a very broad, just, like I said, spitballing. They had stickers all over the wall, different ideas, what
Right.
people wanted to see, that sort of thing.
okay,
And then Nancy and Peter were in attendance, and they had some good ideas about the green space, as well as brought up the idea of the Fonzie, which is great, and how people can donate.
have any of
Going
you
forward.
filled out the parks survey yet?
Yes, and that's what I was thinking of.
Did you do
When I
the
said transportation at Park Survey.
Have you completed it yet? Have you completed it?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, I did, like, to give it a good, it takes a little while.
Yeah.
And you have to they're like, well, what do you want, these kind of 6 things, and you're like, well, it's actually not that big,
Yeah,
so I want all of these things, so.
I think the survey plus the meetings,
Yeah.
they're gonna kind of.
Yeah,
Kind of like culling it down from this
Yeah.
huge
Yeah.
Exactly.
wish list of people.
Okay, do you know when the next meeting, public meeting is?
Yeah, I need to go to that now that I said I'm.
Let me see, I think I
Isn't
may
it,
have
isn't it in October?
We have a separate meeting with you guys at some point.
Oh, good,
Yeah.
okay.
What's that,
What?
Nancy?
I think it's in October, like the 9th or something like that.
That's right, Nancy, it's October 9th is the next public meeting.
Okay.
In between that, they have the key person interview, stakeholder meeting, study committee meeting, so.
That's gonna
So
happen
that
before
kind of runs,
October?
that runs from June through September, really, the key person interviews.
Person.
Okay, so those haven't been scheduled yet. As far as I know, those haven't been scheduled yet.
Right.
Yeah, no one,
The
because
idea
you're
is-
a key person, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you haven't been.
Okay, well, keep us posted, unless there's
Yeah.
anything that we should discuss or give them more input on, but, yeah.
Yeah. Hey Nancy, do you have any input from what you were at the meeting, anything that you
Well,
can contribute?
the only thing that really concerns me is if we're talking about coming through the tunnel, under the Amtrak tracks, we should bring in Amtrak early on. But the person I talked to, Bill Collins or whatever his name is, doesn't want to do that. And I used to work for Amtrak for a while, and
Wow.
I know that they really are very sensitive about anybody on their property. So I think we need to be very sensitive about it. And if we want their help, we need to get them in the beginning. That's my only real worry about it.
I agree. Who do you think the right party is to reach out to them then? Would that be the,
I would like to, but he said they're dealing with Amtrak at the station Circle Park, and want to finish that and then do the next thing as a separate matter. And I don't think that's a good idea. But I'm not in that group. That's just how I feel.
well, I guess we could bring that up in the key person interviews when we meet with them. I guess that's obviously one thing we can bring up with them, when they talk to us. Right. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Nancy. Okay, that sounds good. Anything else on the parks plan? Okay, the next, public health and safety meeting, Jean wanted to talk about the EV charger report. I was planning on being there, but I don't know if I can be. Miriam, you can be, thank you. I'll be there if I can be also. But just mentioning that.
This is, and, yeah,
It was
Didn't check to
Friday, it
make
was
sure
Friday the
that-
14th.
The 14th.
attend.
And I think she's just looking for sort of a summary of what we sent them and answer their questions.
Right, it was so detailed, I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like there are no questions.
Yeah, really,
I know.
I said to Joe,
It was
what
really
questions?
amazing.
I said, why don't we go back to them and ask them the questions they had?
Yeah,
Just want to put
right.
together responses.
That's right.
Well, I think.
Did
the
you
only-
try that? You
the
say,
only
hey,
thing
Gene,
is- yeah.
before the meeting,
Yeah,
could you just give us an idea of what kind of, like this?
We can ask her.
One,
Yeah, we
issue
can
they
ask
might
her.
have-
Well, I don't know that the other council members on that committee might have questions, I don't know. But yeah, we could try and find out before if we want, but I'm sure you'll be able to answer any questions they have, I'm not.
all right, I mean, or I'll defer to
Yeah.
the expert.
Okay.
I have a question that's nothing to do with the EAC. I did for you, a question. I was driving out of Chestnut today, Matt West was walking around. He's talking about this development project on Marion Avenue.
This is Mary.
Like 3 houses or
Oh, yeah.
something.
Yeah.
They're moving a house.
They're moving a house.
It's
It's
insane,
kind of off the record.
Come check it out.
yeah.
I'll have to drive.
You check it out, yeah.
Okay.
You could look at it if you
If
want
you look at it
to.
from Rockland, you get a great view of the whole.
Okay.
If
Or from
you,
Marion.
wanted to go down a big rabbit hole, you could go to Borough Council meeting recordings.
I was just curious, yeah.
And you will see Summer, whatever, I forget her last name, and her former boyfriend, now ex, talking about their financial goals for this project. And how they're. So they're putting in, I think, what is it, 5 houses, and then moving.
They're moving a house or something.
Yeah,
They're
it's
moving it, there's gonna be a twin on Marion and then 2 singles on
just 4 total, 4.
4 new total.
Oh, plus, so, okay, so 5 total.
Sorry, sorry to digress, but I just bumped into Maddie who's
No,
crossing the
it's
street. I was
insane, we're
what's
like-
going on? Like, what are you doing? Because I like
Yeah.
to get out and look around.
I mean, she's basic, she found what all the law allows, and she's just gonna do it, so.
All right, I'll have to drive by and take a look.
I'm not opposed to more people living in Narberth, it's just like moving the house, and she couldn't put in, there were like restrictions just because of the topography of the land, she wouldn't be able to fit in like all 4 of her townhouses unless she moved the house over the historically important house.
As long as it passes all the ordinances, right?
Yep.
As far as we know. So it's been approved, I mean, is that?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It's all been approved.
After a lot of
Okay.
neighborhood comment.
The only other thing I have is that I've heard more, and Nancy, I know this is something you mentioned before, so I'm glad you're on Zoom, is concerns over insecticide use and mosquito spraying and things like that. And I'm wondering if we want to dig deeper into that, find out more about what the impacts are, find out if there's any approaches we want to recommend that council takes, since I'm hearing more and more that people are concerned about that.
Okay, yeah.
Is that something we want to take on and pursue in more detail?
You had said to me to go talk to the borough council, and I did. And I brought it up with them, and Cindy said somebody on the south side had spoken to her about it. I also checked in where my son lives in Westchester County, New York, and they have signs that people put up because parents don't want their kids. I may have told this to you already. Don't want their kids playing on properties where insecticides have been sprayed. So they have signs saying this is an insecticide, pesticide-free property. And, but
Are those individual homeowners putting those up?
say it again.
Are those individual homeowners putting those signs up?
Yes, they are. And once again, today again, the neighbor up next door to me sprayed the gosh darn property again. And it's ridiculous because they're spraying what the birds eat, the little buggies. I don't know what you want to call them. I forget, the larvae. And there are no mosquitoes that they're spraying. It's ridiculous. But they're everywhere spraying. But you had said when I was there at your meeting that you're not allowed to spray in the trees or something like that. Maybe we could publicize that.
The Borough Code does say for the regarding shade trees, that you cannot spray insecticides on them. That's specific to the shade trees, though. It's not very broad.
I think the shade trees is just what's in the,
I believe that's the
Right
things that the
away.
Shade Tree Commission puts in. Yeah, so it's specific, but it's something that's in there. But it's possible we could look into expanding that requirement. I mean, I think what we want to know is sort of more background on the environmental impacts, just so we have a better understanding of how severe the impact it has. And then what approaches we could recommend that the other municipalities have done, or that we think we could do that would be beneficial and would have support of the community. So I guess my question is, would anybody be willing to dig into this and research
spearhead
it?
that, yeah.
And maybe partner with Nancy or anyone else.
Right, I know Nancy, I mean, Nancy, we're working on this issue right now, but like on the college campus, so we're trying to get the policy change by convincing the people who set the policy for the whole area, so it's just a different, it's not democracy. But I think that, definitely working with the garden club, I don't know if you said you knew some people there?
Yeah, and we had, they're aware of the issue and all thinking about it. And Doug Ptolemy, I think is his name, came and talked to everybody about how bad it is to spray. It's education, I think. I really do. And maybe could we put it on the Narberth newsletter, something about educating people about this? I don't know.
I think that could be one approach. I think it's a starting point, though. I think I don't know enough about what the impacts are, and we can definitely do some educational outreach once we have more information, so that we can have something to communicate that people can understand in 30 seconds. Why it's harmful, for example.
I definitely have a lot of materials, like just a kind of a whole
Yeah,
mess of materials
that's
on
true.
herbicides and pesticides, like, you know, it's something that we've been working on a lot. I could make those available. I feel like my plate is full in terms of the advocacy, but I could certainly, I mean, I have a lot of stuff on Roundup and the herbicide issue, which is also, you know, just the other day, I was like, I don't know where I was, and there was some old guy, oh, I guess it was by St. Dennis, and he's just like, spray in the Roundup all over the, you know, in his shorts, and, you know, and it's like, you know, you might have clinical exposure over there. But it's just, I mean, I have tons of pamphlets and brochures and news articles, and I could put them into a drive.
Just stick them on
What's that?
stick them in the EAC projects.
That's fine, but would
Yeah.
anyone be willing to like go through some of that and
That's-
summarize?
yeah.
I would be willing to, if you
Yeah.
could put all that somewhere.
Yeah, sure.
In a couple
I have
of
white
weeks when the
papers.
classes end,
Yeah.
things get a slower, quieter pace for me. So I'd be happy to dig into that.
Yeah, I have so much, like student-written white papers about pesticides and herbicides.
Well, that's good, I mean, it gives you a starting point too, and you
Yeah.
can find more too.
Yeah.
And, I think we should we can look at herbicides and insecticides, both of them. They're probably gonna have different issues and different kinds of impacts, I would think.
Yeah.
But I think what we tend to see around here is those mosquito spray. That's what I noticed more of a
Those are
science for.
services,
Yes.
right, and then it's more,
So what kinds of chemicals are they using?
but a lot of people, yeah, I mean, a lot of people have Roundup in their garage. Like my
That's for
students
sure.
went home and they were like, oh my God, I walked into my garage and there was Roundup.
I think
And
that's
was
super
just-
common as a herbicide, for sure.
As an herbicide, right, so just like in terms of what people actually
Yeah.
use, I think they get the mosquito sprayed service, like mosquito, whatever.
So I think
Yeah.
I think the mosquito spraying is
Yeah.
the more, it's more salient, like we'll see the signs when the mosquitoes.
Well, that's
are in
true,
the yard,
yeah.
And it's potentially covering wider areas, right? I'm not that the Roundup is good either, it's a problem too, but we wanna kind of know
right.
about both, I think.
Yeah, no, I totally, Yeah.
And what their various effects are. So yeah, so if you can just put whatever materials you have, if you want to dig into it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the garden club, I feel like they must also have a lot of materials somewhere. They don't, like we talked last time, right, Nancy, about like, they historically haven't done advocacy. They've had their talks, and the people come and say great things, you know, the experts and stuff come and say great things to the people who are there. But they're not like, they haven't, you know, the garden club itself, I haven't seen them like kind of going to council meetings and saying, hey, we just had Doug Talmy here and, you know, he has all this evidence for the human and other, you know, the harm to health of humans and other, you know, everyone else. Like, can we please have an ordinance say? Like, they haven't done that. If you have friends in the garden club, maybe that's something they would consider if they knew that the EAC was like supportive and we would be like happy to talk to them about how some of those things work and kind of giving it back. Do you have a sense of whether anyone would be up for that?
Yes.
You're not saying to me,
Yeah.
are you? What you say, I agree with what you just said, and I don't know who would want to advocate. I myself would be happy to, but I don't know who will jump on this bandwagon.
Yeah, I would expect, like, seeing what kinds of stuff you know, the garden club has been, you know, they've been focusing on native plants and they had Doug Talmy and you know, it seems like there's a critical mass of people that who really care. And, you know, if they felt comfortable coming in a group and just making a statement, you know, like the garden club is coming out in favor of, you know, the council doing, you know, trying to create a policy to reduce and phase out these things, like, you know, I remember saying something years ago to whoever Linda Pitt, like, oh, are you guys doing any advocacy? She's like, we have our monthly meetings, like, that's what we do, you know, get away, you know?
And it might be as simple as having a representative from that group come to a borough council meeting.
Yeah,
And just
yeah.
give a statement.
Right, yeah.
So, okay,
Yeah, we can all do some research, see if we can find the answers.
that sounds good. And maybe in either July or August meeting, maybe July, if you're ready then, you could give us a summary of what you
That should, yeah.
figure out between now and then.
I can do
Okay.
that.
We'll plan on that.
And obviously Nancy, if any resources, please share with us.
Okay, yeah, I wanna like.
Nancy.
Yes, Nancy, if you have any resources, just email them to me and I can share them with the
I'm gonna
rest of
see
the
if I
group.
can even just share.
Okay, I'll do
this.
that. Thanks.
Thank you.
Whatever the easiest
Already
way to share it
existing,
is.
yeah, I hate the bottleneck that I create, because I have so much info that so many, like, grown-ups and kids have gathered over the years, I wouldn't want to write.
Okay, the last thing I had on the agenda is just checking on Borough Council and Council Committee agendas. I took a look at them, I didn't see anything that required any actions from us this time.
One thing for the next meeting could be just thinking maybe a little holistically about the budget and asking about like, what is the budget like for the borough this year? Because we always had the inside scoop in the past, because Rob was on. I think Rob-
EAC budget, EAC.
Yeah.
I can find out about that. We can
Okay.
also, if there are specific things related to like outreach that have an approximate dollar figure, I can ask specifically about that too. Just let me know.
Okay.
Yeah. Anything else, any other things? Any other public comment from Nancy? And Jesse,
Nope.
I know you.
Nothing from me.
I don't know if Jesse can hear us. Let's see a second. Okay, anything else?
No.
All right, good. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Jeff.
Meeting adjourned.
So just FYI, what you'll see, the stuff I have, there's a lot, because there's so much interconnection between the native plants and planting natives and doing the organic management,